All right. What's up, Optimus? Happy Friday. It is March 24th, 2023, and it is it's a fun and special weekend, and I hope that you guys are gonna have an amazing weekend. There's gonna be like a bunch of planets going into alignment on Monday. To me, I find that incredibly cool, because I'm kind of a space geek and I like that about myself. So um yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. And I wonder like just kind of how all those gravitational forces and pulls will affect humans and how we act and whatnot. Maybe it doesn't do anything at all, but I believe in gravity and all those attractions and pull and push and all that type of stuff. So, all right, so let's go ahead and jump to the markets. I know that it was hitting lows earlier, and I think it bounced. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Take a look at the ES here. Just down about $10 in the ES at 39.68. Looks like not very long ago, about 7 o'clock or so, we got a 5200 crossover. We're getting some pops up now. I'm going to zoom out on the chart here and just kind of take a look at what we've been experiencing over the last couple hours. On the 5-minute chart, we're actually in a 5200 downward push. And you can see we're running up here. We're running into resistance at the 200 moving average on the 5-minute chart, which is right there at around 72. It does look pretty good though, because there is a lot of TTM momentum. All the other moving averages have moved into alignment. So really it's kind of a matter of time, I think, before it gets above this. We may reject a couple of times here and then consolidate around VWAP and then pop up after that. But we do have a pretty reasonable opportunity to just sort of rip up. The 50 moving average is not too far away. 50 moving average is just below the VWAP here at around 55 versus this at 72. So maybe around 8 o'clock or so, we might get this crossover on the 5-minute chart, which would look really solid for some upward momentum. Okay, let's take a look at the 3-minute chart. 3-minute chart is very much the same situation as the 5-minute chart, although we did have this pullback here, which did go to a red yellow, made some very nice moves that rejected off the 200 moving average. And you can see that we've had several rejections off the 200 moving average. Wouldn't shock me if this one did either, but this one looks a lot stronger than the previous 1, 2, 3 moves on the 200 moving average. This one looks stronger because all the exponential moving averages are more in alignment. Plus, we've already made several attempts at this, and in this time frame, now the 3-minute and the 9 EMA and the 12 EMA are actually beginning to move above the volume weighted average price. So we're starting to see some of these moving averages cross over into the bullish territory. We take a look at the 1. The 1 looks very bullish, although we may, like I said, see some pullbacks, which is that rejection off of that 200 moving average on the 5 and the 3-minute chart. So we may kind of consolidate around here, around like 65-ish, or possibly down at 60, which would be just above the VWAP. But I think that for the most part, we're likely going to bounce off the 9 EMAs, maybe off the 12 EMA. So bounces off of 65, I think, area. Now the 20-second chart, this is something that new that I've been trading. I haven't really traded this much. I definitely don't want to trade 4 contracts though. So this is something new that I've been trading. I really have not done much, but the last couple of days I've been trading here and I've done pretty well. It kind of adds a volatility component that sort of allows me to see very short-term trends, and it's been really quite nice trading on a 20-second chart. So I may continue that today. Our trailing max drawdown available today is $504 on the Elite Trader funding side. We did make a little bit of profit yesterday. I made $160. Obviously we're down in the account, and then on our Apex side, we're down slightly in the account, roughly about $305, because yesterday we were up 160 and we caught a falling knife that lost us around $700. on that particular trade. So we're going to go a little easy today, but I'm going to be mildly aggressive because I still have a reasonable amount of drawdown available, and I'm going to really just kind of work to increase my drawdown on ETF back up to 2,000. Even if we don't do that today, if we get it up to like, I don't know, 800 a day, that would look really nice. Since we're at 504, and I'm at 1875 on the trailing max drawdown on Apex, so I'm gonna try to get that back up to the 2,500 mark. I don't know that I'll try to go for the full like $700, but I will try to be somewhere as close to the 2,500 as I can. Okay, so we are getting a pullback up here, as to be expected. Like I mentioned, that would be that rejection off that 200 moving average coming down, and this is the 20-second chart, so that's why this looks so dramatic. So we may look for bounce off the 35 or the 50. You can see there's a lot of downward momentum on the 20-second chart, but there's a good amount of volatility in this because just in 40 seconds here, we've dropped from 69 all the way down to 64. So that's a 20-tick drop right there, and we're continuing to drop here. So we did get a brand new 1-minute candle. Let's go ahead and check in with there. I said with there, that'll work. Why not? All right, so the 1 minute is definitely getting some pullback here. I'm going to mark in that 200 simple moving average from the 3 minute and the 5 minute. It's currently at about 66 on the 3 minute. And I think we're rejecting the 5 minute more consistently now. It's at 72. So I'm going to jump out here to the 1 minute chart, and I'm going to put a resistance line here at 66, which is the 3 minute 200. And another one at 72, which is the 5 minute 200. So we'll be looking at those areas as support and resistance, or I should say resistance and resistance. Extend this out just a little bit. All right, now let's jump to a 20-second chart. What are we on? Apex. I'm going to drop this down to 2 contracts. And on the 20-second chart, we've got this red to yellow here, which does look good for exactly what's happening. There's a rejection right there, right at that resistance level that we pointed out. It looks like it's going to consolidate over this. Sorry, I'm manipulating my charts right now so much. So TTM is headed up to 3.7, 3.6 area. Rejection right there at the 26 simple. It's not a common place of rejection, but it does happen. Moving from 3.6 to 3.5 on the TTM, so not a lot of strong momentum yet. I may look for a cyan switch on the 20-second chart, which would be really indicative of a longer term breakout, likely up to like in the 70, 72, something like that would be my guess. Obviously, it's an estimation based off past experience and based off the volatility of the day, but in which case I might go for 3 contracts. What would this be? 3 times 5 is 3750 times 5, so it's 187.50. Okay, I think that's pretty reasonable for trade amount for an intended take profit zone. Pulling back down to 62. I'm tempted to take a bounce trade off of here, but I don't have enough confirmation here. I might have more confirmation on the 1 minute side. Yeah, okay, that's an EMA 35 area. Take a look at the 3-minute zone. 3 minutes on this little pullback here. That was a really nice bounce trade there. So on the 3-minute, it's actually bouncing off the 9 EMA, which is right there at 62. And now we're pulling all the way back down to 60. There's the 50 EMA, which is right there at $60. And I'm going to jump back to this 20-second chart because this is really going to give us the information that we need about a rip up before we really get a super strong rip. So that's why I've been liking this, because it's kind of like getting the info during the candle that the rip begins to happen a lot of the time, which is really cool. So we'll be looking for about likely like 5 minutes from now up to like 20 minutes from now, I think, for this rip. Unless, of course, it just fails and goes back and tests the lows and whatnot. But I think that we have more potential to actually pop up. We are above volume weighted average price. We do have a lot of moving average crossovers. It's just that we're waiting on the full-on breakout, I think. Now, I didn't get an opportunity to read about it, so I'm not going to be able to speak intelligently about it. But I am just going to mention that I did read a headline, and that's all I'm going to say about the headline in terms of my knowledge on it. But I did read a headline that Deutsche Bank reignited bank scares. I don't know why. I haven't had an opportunity to read that information yet. But that could be contributing to the markets. That headline came through last night. So that could be contributing to the downward trend in the markets, along with the Fed rate hike decision as well. But in my own thought process, the fact that the ES is hanging around 4,000, 3950s, 3900s, 4,000 all this time, in my own personal opinion, it's absolutely crazy. It's so nuts. When you look back at the charts from years past, this thing was half this price and more. And so it's pretty incredible over the last 3 years to see what's happened to the S&P 500, what's happened to the ES and all that. So, and the NASDAQ as well. It's pretty incredible just to see the change. Pulling all the way back to the 200 simple moving average on the 20-second chart and breaking below it. One minute going red on the TTM. And there's my VWAP that just constantly disappears. How can you trade your charts if you don't have any VWAP? It's kind of annoying having to set this up every day. I don't know why it won't save a VWAP in here. It's not kind of annoying, it's actually just really annoying to have to set up a VWAP every day. Okay, so we did below the VWAP on the 1 minute side, and we're getting a red candle on the TTM. ES is now down $22. We're rejected pretty heavily off of that 200 moving average there on the 3 minute and 5 minute side. I believe the 5 minute 200 moving average, though, is still working its way downward towards a crossover. And we're lacking VWAP on here as well. I just don't understand, man. I've saved this so many times. Okay. By the way, if y'all chilling, hanging out, let us know in the comments. Say what up. Oh, good. At least that part's saved. I wonder if that'll save forever, though. Or if it'll just be not there. Okay, so we pulled all the way back to the 50 EMA on the 3-minute side. The 50 EMA and the 200 SMA are still working on a crossover. Like I said, I just think it's going to be closer to the top of the hour, possibly even like 8:15, maybe even into 8:30. So in the meantime, we're still kind of back and forth between this bullish and bearish territory. Baratory. I wonder if the 20-second has VWAP. Nope. So we're right at the bottom of the 20-second VWAP, as in 20 seconds of 1 minute. And we are bouncing off that. We've actually bounced off that 1, 2, 3, 4 times we've bounced here. Will we get the 5th? Right now everything's looking kind of, pretty bearish. But you can see the TTM has also been working its way upward. We're now at 1.0 on the TTM on the 20-second chart. Now this could just drop down here pretty heavily, but it's really looking like it wants to hold 55 as its zone. We'll find out. I'm not taking anything though that I don't really truly understand. Or if I do have to be like, oh, I should go short here or whatever the case may be. I'm really trying to just have it stick 100% to my strategy today and go kind of slow, even though I'm trading with slightly more size than I normally do. So this is getting really near a cyan switch. Pop off that VWAP there from 55 all the way up to 57. So a little 8-tick meat here. Now it's popping up through there. Tap the 35, rejected kind of heavily there. And we're getting really close to that cyan switch. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to look to join the bid maybe at 57 or so. Maybe I'll wait for that moving average crossover, actually, since this is the very first candle of the cyan. So I'm going to wait for the confirmation, even though I do think this is going to go. But we may get a pullback or something in the meantime. So there's a 9 above 12. All right, this is looking pretty good. Join the bid right here. I'm in at 58.50, which is not bad. Trying to get out of 59.75. Remember that we had resistance there at about 60. So a little micro pullback here. Hope that's a micro pullback. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Order
So
filled.
that was a major pullback, and we lost $600 on our very first trade. Amazing. That's incredible. So going from 58.50 all the way down to 54.50, that was such a massive amount of tick movement so quickly. But I guess that's what happens when you're trading this level of volatility. So that puts our trailing max down at 1266 and kind of puts us a little bit more on the fence. Unfortunately, 9 below 12 completely rejected that breakout there. I took this breakout at the level that I took it at, based off the 9 getting above the 12. But we did reject pretty heavily there at the EMA 50, and look at this, we're coming right back. I don't know that this comeback will actually stick though, because you can see on the 20-second chart, the 50 is actually working on a downward cross. So let's take a look at this at the 1 minute side and zoom out a little bit. There's a yellow candle on the 1. So this is the risk of trading, like on the 20-second chart too. Like, I actually didn't realize that I was buying into the VWAP right here, based off of the 20-second chart. So I actually didn't realize that I was buying right at that, all these resistance points, which was the 50 and the VWAP there. So that's a little bit of a risk of trading with that 20-second chart. A lot of waiting around today at the moment. Definitely some short opportunities though. So now we're actually going red on the TTM on the 3-minute side. Let's zoom out here. We also do have this sort of ascending support on the 3-minute as well. And there's that bounce off the lows that we talked about at the beginning. So it had sort of this red to green at the open, and we've kind of just been running along those lines. Really, it's just kind of waiting for that 50-200 crossover. Let's take a look at an additional chart here. I'm going to take a look at the 15-minute chart real fast. Well, I guess I can just switch this to 15-minute real quick. We'll switch our 5. So I switched out to the 15-minute chart because I wanted to see what was happening both on the TTM as well as a 50-200 crossover. So we have gotten quite a few yellow candles here, and we're going from about, let's see, $9.1 working its way up to 7.1. So 9.1 to 9.0 to 8.6 to 8.1, and then the current one is at 7.5. So we do have a ways to go before we can take long trades on this. There definitely was some short opportunities though along this view app. Here, and the one I took. In the wrong direction, mind you. So I'm gonna hang out on the 1 minute chart for a while we await for an approach of VWAP. Taking rejections along the 9 EMA. Okay, approaching the view app. Getting another little rejection at it. View app's right there at around 58.50, which was the exact entry point of our loss here. And TTM getting up to 5.5. So we're getting some rips through and some rejections off. We're about 5 minutes from the top of the hour. I'm a little sick. Again. Breaking up through the VWAP, up towards 60. That's what I was hoping from this trade here. Was that pretty much that exact move. I'm going to jump to the 20-second chart. Let's see what's happening here. So we do have a pretty solid cyan here. Watch out for resistance at 60. Three-minute TTM is still red. We're pulling back to the view app. I want to see this go yellow. I think that'll look really nice. 1 second, y'all. All right, we're back. So, like I said, a yellow candle on that 3-minute chart on the 3-minute TTM would look really nice for a potential come up here. We're going to remember that 65 is where our 200 moving average is on the 3-minute chart. So we're going to make note of 60 and 65, which is pretty easy to remember. We should have a new 3-minute candle at 8 o'clock. Just 1 minute remaining. 1 minute remaining. For all my Halo people out there. We'll have a new 3, 5, and 15-minute candle to play off of. This is looking pretty nice. I haven't taken any trades off of it, even though I do think that it's going to pop up right around 8 or like 8:03 or something like that. I haven't taken any trades off of it yet. Just I'm really kind of waiting for this to confirm. $15 seconds. hanging around 58 pretty strongly. On the 1 minute, the 9 has gotten above the 12. And we're going into a cyan switch there, the 1 minute side.
Order filled.
Join the bid at 59. I'm looking for a move up to 60 and a quarter.
Order filled.
All right, so we did get that. We took 2 contracts at 5 ticks. So that means we have $490 left to make back, which is pretty frustrating, just because we got hit on that downward, that push down right there, and we cut it. It looks like, if we would have done that, we would have gone down practically $1,000. But it would have came right back and the trade would have worked out. Getting some pushback off of 60, which is to be expected. Next thing I'm going to really look for here is on the 1 minute side. I'm going to look for this 1226 crossover to actually take place. Let's take a look at that 3 minute candle that we were talking about. It's taking a very long time for that Tiki squeeze. Pulling all the way back to the 50 moving average again and bouncing off of there. It's actually bounced off the 50 moving average several times. You can see here, really at that doji, and here as well. Practically there and on the current candle. So for the last 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 minutes, it's been bouncing off the 50 EMA pretty well. It seems like a pretty reasonable support zone there, which is currently at 55-ish. Just realized my Tiki on the 3 minute doesn't show value. Oh yeah, it does. Oh, there it is. It's just very hard to see because it's so low. 1.6 red. So going further red on the TTM3. So like I said, I'm waiting for that red to yellow confirmation, because what that really does for the chart is this. You can see we had these 2 red candles here on the TTM, even though this one ripped up green. But then the next one, we got this yellow candle, which gave us this huge rip. And we ripped here from all the way from 48 up to like 62. And obviously we went higher all the way up to the VWAP, or the 200 moving average. But it really did kind of help confirm that move. And so I'm looking for this red to yellow switch here. Currently, we're at 1.4 on the TTM, bouncing off that 50 EMA, which is right there at about 55 and a quarter. And actually, we just got a 1226 crossover on the downside on the 3 minute chart with the 9 below the 12. So that doesn't look great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to stay this way for very long if it stays this way. Sometimes these will happen and then it'll just consolidate here real quick, and then like a candle or two, and it'll rip back up. And you can see we're actually getting a movement from red to yellow right now. And we'll have a new 3 minute candle in just about 2.5 minutes. So this is a sort of a freshie, but let's jump to the 1 minute side and see what's going on there. 1 minute is getting TTM. It's getting sort of these cyan candles stacking up here. We're at 1.3, and our previous one was about 0.7, which is not bad. 0.6 move. So may look for potentially a bounce off of VWAP. There's a little bit more divergence on the 1 minute chart. We're going from 1.6 to 1.9 on the TTM. So that TTM slowed down a little bit at 0.3. I'm going to change this back over to 3 contracts. And I'm going to look for like a 12 tick move, which I actually think is possible. And there it was. So it went from 59 all the way up to 61.50. So not quite 12 ticks, but close. Very close. And there's the rip on through. Pulling back heavily. Only a few seconds left in this candle. I'm tempted to take this trade here. Should have taken an entry around 59 or so because it did pull back that far. I would actually like to see one more pullback before the rip. Would be quite nice. There's a little bit of a pullback. I'd like to see a pullback to like 60 and a bounce off of 60 would really be what I'd want to see. But I don't know if we're going to get that. We may just rip up. It's looking like we're just going to rip up. I'm not going to go for 12. I'm going to go for 8. Seems a little bit more conservative. Going from 1.9 to 3.4 on the TTM, that's looking pretty decent.
Order filled.
Join the bid at 62.50. Looking for a rip up to 64.50. Really do like a move up to 65. I think I may have entered a little bit prematurely because there was an additional pullback that ended up that came about at the end of the candle. Oh my gosh.
Order filled.
Okay, so I'm gonna be done trading my Apex account for the day, or I'm gonna switch to the micros and try and recover just a tiny little bit of this. Just a heads up, there are 43K put contracts. Holy crap. I wish I read that 10 seconds ago. At 393 compared to like 10K calls. Looking for a pushback up at some point today to get those out of the money. One good trade, 2 really bad trades today. So definitely not trading with the accuracy and patience that I was trading with yesterday. I think yesterday I was trading some larger size, and that got me kind of excited to trade larger size. But I just need to chill now because those are some pretty heavy hits. And I'm going to jump to my Elite Trader funding side as well. 20-second chart, working on a 5200 cross. Or just a flat-out rejection. I keep getting the buying at the highs of these potential breakouts and then getting rejected on the way down. So that's pretty frustrating. I think that when we do see a push up, we'll see a push up at when this crossover actually happens. Just because this is working towards the upward and this is working towards the downward, but at the same time, look at this dump going from 60 all the way down to 50. And but you said there was 43,000 put options on here. Yo, Pawn, I'm just curious where you're getting that order flow from, if you don't mind me asking. If you're still kicking it. We haven't traded in our Elite Trader side today. Probably, potentially for the best. Our average volume is actually really high today. Charts back up in a second. Oh, is this on that's not WeBull, is it? It looks like WeBull. Wow. Still continuing to rip down. Where's the low of the day? 37. Pushing all the way down to 45. And just continuing to get more and more rippage down. There is a massive amount of volume today. Getting about 1,650 contracts traded per minute or per 20 seconds. There it goes. So I'm just trying to look for some opportunities here. Clearly, there's opportunities in every candle. Trying to find something that fits with me. Like Fawn said, I do think that we'll get a trend reversal sometime today, but I don't know when that's going to be, or like, I don't know. There's a lot of hours left in the day. But Pretty challenging day so far for me, anyway. Uh, might not come through, and after 2 p.m. we'll probably get crazy. But worth noting that worth noting if they get those out of the money, they put a net 30K contracts out on the money or out of the money with what would go in from the call side. And throw that up on the screen there. So Pon says, worth noting, just that if they get those out of the money, then they if they get those out of money, they put a 30K contracts out of the money with what would go in on the call side. So basically, I don't understand options very well, and I'm not gonna try to explain that. Um, but what I do personally see is that at some point we're gonna come across um, where we've essentially just gone too far down. We're gonna have to rubber band back up, um, and I think that it'll be evident with something like a crossover action on a longer time frame. But also, I'm gonna have to start taking a look at the options contract order flow that you're putting up there and really learning that, because that is new territory for me. But clearly, today I've gotten hit with a few trades that likely could have been prevented on a couple of different in a couple of different ways. 20-second charts getting a little crossover here and a little cyan. I'm gonna go for one contract at 3 ticks on ETF side. I'm just looking for this to pop up and hit 49. All right, so on the ETF side, we made 32 bucks. I'm just gonna keep it at one contract. I'm gonna go really slow. I'm on one contract of the mini, not the micro. And we're getting some strong cyan action on the 20-second chart. Bear in mind that this is not a particularly valuable chart for longer term trading. It can be useful in determining a breakout before a breakout really happens. But I've only been using this chart this week. I've had some pretty good accuracy with it. Like on this 20-second, you see this bull flag here and the cyan switch happening. There is resistance zones though, like the 35 and the 50, and you can see that this rejected that 50 right there, which is right there at $50. 1 minute had such a heavy decline, and on the 1 minute side, we're kind of approaching this downward cross of the 5200. There's the pullback there that rejected pretty heavily. Oh man, I just realized charts weren't up. I apologize. 37K puts would be worthless, and only 10.5K calls would go in the money. So combining, they keep 22.5 contracts worth of premium. So I'm assuming that would mean that you get 22.5 contracts that actually end up being profitable, while 10.5K or 10K, yeah, 10.5 K calls become worthless. Am I correct in that assumption? I've never traded options. Just to be completely clear. I've traded futures, crypto, and stocks. I've never traded Forex or options though. I imagine as far as trading goes, the chart patterns are probably pretty similar. But as far as understanding the nuance of the individual instruments is likely quite a different story. Just like understanding the nuance of stocks and futures it's subtle, but it's there. So ETF account max drawdown is at 535. We're green in that account. We're red in our Apex account. Still getting pretty massive pullback in the markets. ES is down 0.75 of a point. Down about $30 on the ES. Pawn showing up here, teaching us about options. By the way, Pawn, if you ever want to come on and talk about options, man, you're more than welcome to. We got a doji down there on the 3-minute side. And 3-minute TTMs all the way down at 10.0, 10.2. That's a pretty hefty downward momentum. Going from 9.2 down to 10. We are getting a surge back up at the moment. Watch out for resistance at that $50 mark, which is right where the 9 EMA is. And you can see we rejected off the 9 EMA already. On this candle, we rejected closer to the 50, but still getting that rejection there. Rejection off the 9 there. And this was close to a 9 rejection, but not quite. So that doji at the top with a little bit of downward move. Take a look at the 5-minute chart. I think we're a long way from this trend reversal. And actually with the 50 dropping down like this, my original estimation was around somewhere between 8 and 8:30. I'm going to say more like 10:30 given the movement. Maybe that's being a little conservative, but I think it makes sense given the pretty heavy downward pressure that we've been hitting along these along the sooner moving average. I do wish that I had shorted off of this, though. I can tell you that. Gone short off 72. Just let it ride. The 10.5K calls contracts have a little value, and the outs are worthless. Market makers would just keep the premium they collected or the balance between the two. Okay. That makes sense. I would actually love to be a market maker. I think I need to learn a lot, but I would love to be a market maker. I think that would be an amazing job. I think that would be a very fascinating job just to see how markets move, to help markets move. In my own personal opinion, it's a really strong way to contribute in a way to keeping the economy going. It's kind of a funny thought process. But I think it's just a very interesting job. I would totally love to do that. I think that would make a lot of sense in my own life. I think it would fit my personality quite well. I'm sort of naturally introverted too, so I think it would contribute to that. Three-minute TTM dropping down to 11. It was 10.6 when last we checked. And now 50, 39.50. It's becoming a pretty strong line in the sand there. VWAP is up at 58.06. 58, let's just say. It's going to be different on each chart, but 1 minute side getting a reasonably strong red-yellow move. 9 is still below 12, and you can see here, even though this got a cyan switch with 9 above 12 and whatnot, still rejected really heavily down. So I don't really know that I can trust this. Like, I feel like I could trust taking a short off that more. Even though, like, these types of things are beginning to set up in a long type format, but we are below the 200 moving average. We're below the VWAP. So we have other things to consider, not just the strategy itself. I think that's something that I definitely could work on, is almost having like a checklist of things to go through for each trade to make sure that it fits those parameters. I think I could benefit greatly from that. Pumping up above the 50, TTM going from 2.4 to 0.6, so that is looking nice. Average volume is down at about 4,000 now, which is quite a bit lower than it was before, because before you can see we were up here at like 6,000. So that's, in a sense, it's nice. In a sense, it's also not nice. So, in the sense of the niceness of it all is that it does tend to make moves be a little bit more predictable when the volume is not so high. But also, if the volume gets too low, then the movements tend to fail. 9 getting above 12 on a cyan switch, above the 50 EMA, and we potentially might make a run up towards the VWAP. Let's take a look at the 20-second chart and see how that's trending. 20-second getting a blue candle. Bouncing off of 52 slightly up to 53, so really not much of a bounce there at all. I'm going to keep a close eye on the 1 minute chart. Mainly because we are potentially getting this crossover here. There is a cyan switch. We are currently at a point where the 50 and 200 are right next to each other. I have seen these come really close to a crossover and then just straight up rip off of here. I have seen that before as well. So at the current price of 393 put contracts being $321 a contract, the 25.5K contract premiums they would keep is around $8.1 million profit after calls for that strike price done alone. That's awesome. Like that's interesting. It's kind of crazy, and I just find it really cool. I genuinely find this stuff cool. Like, even though it may be a little nerdy, but I do find this stuff kind of cool. Just to think that kind of market even exists. That something like this could be bought and sold at such a premium as well. And I find it really interesting. I find the whole thing really fascinating. All of it. Especially the market maker aspect of it. Running into resistance along that 50 EMA, which is right around just under $50. Let's take a look at this 3-minute chart now. See what's going on here. So this 3-minute got 2 yellow candles in a row. It's down at 9.2. And if you recall, we had gone down to as low as 11. This one's coming in at 8.2 on the open of it. And Monday's just going to do 5-minute candles. So I'm going to take a look at that. 5-minute side is still below the 9 EMA and still painting red on the TTM side. The 50 is also still well below the 200 moving average, which I don't think is going to happen for a while. They're about $15 apart. Sort of looks like it's gonna pop up to like 54. So approaching closer on the 5200 cross on the 1-minute chart. Pretty reasonable rejection there off of the 50. Pulling down from $53 down to $49. And back up at 50. By the way, if y'all are chilling, y'all are hanging out, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And also, too, guys, if you're trying to earn funding in the futures market, the Lead Trader Funding is awesome. I love these guys and have been talking about them for months. But there is also Apex Trading that has very recently added Tradeovate and TradingView to their software offerings. And that license is included with your plan. And they're currently doing an 80% off deal right now. There is a link in the description as well that you guys can use to take advantage of this 80% off sale. Yeah, guys, so just go ahead and grab that if you're looking to earn funding in the futures market. Just make sure that you read each of the plans that are here. First off, so you understand it. Second off, so that you understand what software you're getting with the plan that you're choosing. If you notice these very first ones here, they offer NinjaTrader. So if you like NinjaTrader, this would be the plans that for you. And if you like Tradeovate or TradingView, the ones down below this little video here would be the plans for you. So they are slightly different in price, and they give you the opportunity to use TradingView or to use Tradeovate, which is awesome in my own personal opinion. I love using Tradeovate, and I also like TradingView as well. NinjaTrader is incredibly powerful as a system, but for me, it is a little bit challenging to use. And so that's one of the reasons why I like using Tradeovate. But if you want to check these guys out, you can actually pick up a $187 account for as low as like 40 something bucks. So you go from 187 times 0.2, so it comes out to $37.40 before taxes for a 50K account, which is just ridiculous. It's under $40 to get access to $50,000 worth of capital. It's just absolutely crazy. So you guys can certainly check them out. I will say Elite Trader Funding does have a little bit easier back office to work with, and their website is laid out a lot cleaner. And I've been using these guys for months, and I really love their customer service. So they do have a lot of standout reasons to go with Elite Trader Funding as well. There is also a link in the description and a promo code JSBEST that you guys can use to lock in a lifetime discount on this one. So you guys are definitely going to want to check that out if you are trying to earn funding in the futures market. Having said all that, we're going to jump back into the charts, and you can see we got a downward cross on the 5200, but the chart doesn't seem to care. It is kind of pushing back up, so we may get one of those situations where we get this downward cross for just a minute or so, or a couple of minutes, and then we get that cross right back up and rip. We are ripping off of $50 pretty well, popping up 3 more bucks. Watch out for heavy resistance at these zones here. The 200 and the 50 are right in the same spot. We've got 1 minute left on this 3-minute candle here, which is now on the TTM moved its way up to 7.2. Did get a little micro trade there. We are on the elite trader funding side right now, and we've got $535 available in our trailing max drawdown. We're down slightly in the account. We're down decently in the account, around $1,500 in total, but we are working this back up. We put in some good numbers yesterday, and we've only taken 1 trade, but it was a profitable trade today. So we'll be working this account back up as well. The 200 moving average is now a 63, and the VWAP is now a 58. So these are getting a lot closer together. Where's that 50 moving average? Oh, there it is. All right. 50 and the 35 are practically in the same location. The 50 is all the way down here at 54. So we're getting pretty close to the VWAP now. Did just get a major rip off that, popping up from 52 all the way up to 57. So a 20 tick rip right here. May see some rejections off the VWAP. 9 is above 12 though. 35 is working its way above 50, and the 50, like I said, crossed down for a second, and now it's crossing back up. So I might look for a little entry here. We're in at 56, trying to get out of 56.75. So I'm just looking for a small pop up. And we're only in 1 contract.
Order filled.
Okay, so we did get that. We're up 62, 63, 84 on the day. In the elite trader funding side, we do have a lot of work in the Apex side in order to get back green, because we did take 2 really bad trades that went heavily against us back to back. So, well, not back to back. We took 1 trade where we made like 187.50 or something like that back. So we do have a lot of work to get back to green. We're rejecting pretty heavily off of there. There's like a 12 tick opportunity practically on that short. TTM on the 1 minute side going to 4.19 from 3.86, or I'm going to call it 4.0 on the previous to now 4.4. So a little bit of cooling on that. Like, I wouldn't say cooling. It hasn't cooled down. Obviously, it's still heating up, but the heat up is at a slower pace. And you can see we even flashed a cool candle there for a second. 50 is crossing above the 200 moving average. 9 is above the 12. The 35 is working on that upward cross as well. This may be one of those 845 breakouts that we've been seeing for the last couple of months. I think there's too much volatility for a 5-tick trailing stop, but I might just go for 5 ticks, take profit. So we have a little flag here on this pullback. We may continue to pull back a little bit more, perhaps to like the 9 EMA, which is like right there at 54. And then another test of the VWAP would be what I'd want to see in order to see this continue that bullish momentum. But pretty nice looking pendant here. A little hammer candle. We did pull back straight to the 9 EMA right there at 54. See, I've been hurt so many times with just like a rip down right here or something like that, and so now I'm like sketchy. But frankly, that would have been a nice trade. Let's take a look at the 20-second chart so we can see how this momentum is actually stacking. That's one of the reasons I actually really quite like this 20-second chart is because I can kind of see momentum stack in real time easier. That did look like a very nice trade. 9 is getting above 12 pretty well. Going for a 5200 crossover soon. So now we're coming up at the VWAP. TTM hasn't loaded. Sometimes you just got to pull it out like that. Like zoom out. Seems to make a difference. That was a nice pendant rip there. And I guess we should have taken it. We called it, but didn't take the action. So he who hesitates is lost. 57, I'm going to call it 58, where the VWAP is at the moment. I think that we're going to pop over it. We may potentially get a slight rejection here. I think an entry off of 56 would look really good if we get a pullback. Let's take a look at this 3-minute chart here real fast. 9 is above 12. It looks like the 35 has gotten above the 50. Actually, it never really dropped below it. We're nearing a scion switch. TTM on the 3-minute chart went from 4.8 to 2.8. Just pretty good momentum. Got this little cup and handle here. So we may get a pullback to like 55 or something like that. We do have a flag on the 3-minute side. And the 200 moving average is at 62.75. So we may have potential to get up through that VWAP and run into resistance here at this 62.75 zone. 3-minute chart, new 3-minute candle going from 3.3 to 1.6 on that little mini pullback there. I'm going to look at potentially joining a bid. That would have been the entry that I wanted, was like 56 something. I can tell I'm skittish because of those trades from earlier. I can honestly tell that I'm pretty skittish. Just because I'm not jumping at a lot of opportunities that I see. So this did come up to 57.75, just right there at that VWAP. I think that we're going to pop over VWAP, honestly. Got a standing order at 57.50.
Order filled.
I'm going to look for a pop up to 58.75.
Order filled.
I took the profit on it at 58. So we got 2 ticks on that. It looks like it potentially is going to go and hit our level, but I saw it kind of pulling back on the chart, so I decided to just take the profit. We're up $102.68 on the ETF eval side. Getting some pullback now. A few seconds left in this candle. I think we could just rip here off the VWAP. 50 is above 200. 35 is about to get above it. Getting a pullback now, so that 9 EMA. Honestly, that was a pretty nice trade. I considered taking it as well. It was just a bounce off the 9 down there at like 56.25, because that would have been a nice 5 ticks right there. Take a look at the 20-second chart and see how this is shaping up. Back on 1 minute. Little hammer candle on VWAP. I'm enjoying the bid here.
Order
In at
filled.
57.75, and I'm looking for a move up to 59. All right,
Order
we
filled.
did get that at 2 contracts, 5 ticks. That puts us up $216.52 on the day in the Elite Trader funding side. So trailing max is now at 720. Very nice rip. Here's that 845 rip. This is exactly the time that we spoke about already. Watch out for resistance at 62. Just blew right past it. Didn't even care. We may get a pullback to the 200 moving average at 62, which is the 200 moving average on the 3-minute side. 62.50 is where that's at right now. Didn't even care about that 200 moving average. Just blasted right through it at 845. 845 has been the very consistent rip time that I've been seeing for the last 2 months. Right at 845 with this massive volume spike with this massive rip up. Almost daily now. It's really, really fascinating. This honestly could have been an incredibly stronger trade. I kind of wish I went for like a 12 tick trailing stop on this, because this would have ran all the way up from 57 or whatever, $13 up straight. Just a huge charge up all the way up here. 13,000 contracts traded in the last 3 minutes, and still pushing up. Now 17,000 contracts. Absolutely insane. Massive rip. Massive volume spike. Just 30 seconds into this candle, we're already up 3,200 contracts. So this just ripped from 58.75 right there at VWAP all the way up to 75. We passed well past that 200 moving average. Just an absolutely insane rip. We certainly should have gone for more profit on that. But I am happy that we're up 200 plus on the day in the Elite Trader funding side. I know that I have a lot of work to do in order to get both those accounts back into green, but a little bit at a time is just fine. 1 second, y'all. All right, we back, y'all. I'm just nursing this sickness that is trying to work its way back. It feels like it's trying to turn into a lung infection, and I'm trying to deal with that. All right, let's jump back into these charts. So now we're getting some pullback off of 75, which is to be expected. What an insane rip. I really wish we had taken more meat off that bone, but I am grateful to be green. Grateful to be green. All right, let's take a look at this 3-minute chart and figure out where this crossover actually is. So this crossover action here is the 50 is down at 55.50, and the 200 moving average is still at 62.50. So this gap is beginning to close. It's about a $7 gap now. If you recall earlier, it was significantly more when we were way back here. It was like a $15 gap. So now it's about a $7 gap. We are getting a pullback on this. Like, I definitely expect some sell-off from this, because, I mean, that is such a massive rip up there. So you have to expect some people are going to be taking profit. So I am expecting some sell-off. But I think that we're out of this below the VWAP zone issue. 5-minute side actually did get a red-yellow move, and I wish that I had checked the 5-minute chart, because I think there would have been more chance that I would have taken a larger swing here. So we're pulling back to the 200 moving average on the 5-minute chart. Are we going to reject it again and push back down? If we do, I think that the rejection would likely push down to about 62, 63, something like that, right around where the 200 moving average is on the 3-minute side, which, by the way, is currently at the 200 moving average on the 5 minute, which is right at 70. So if we do pull back, I would see around like 63 to 65 would be the area that we'd look for a pullback. But if we do just hold above 70, then that would also look very nice too. So right now we got this candle pulling back to around the 90 MA. And I don't hate a long here. 1, 2, 3, 4 minute pullback. All right, we do have a reasonable amount of people watching today. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications because it really does help the channel grow. It really does help just kind of this whole community begin to have more dialogue, speak more together. I just learned a bunch about options from Pawn, one of the members of our community as well. And dude just got a lot of knowledge. We have a bunch of people in the group with a bunch of knowledge as well. So join our Discord community. We'd love to have you there. We are pulling back to around the 90 MA. Like I said, I'm tempted to take a long off of this. But it is right at the 200 moving average on the 5-minute chart. And it is right at this resistance level of 70. So I'm hesitant because we have so many candles that look like this on the red side today. So I'm very hesitant, especially because we got this account green $216 today. And I don't want to give back profits on this. So I may jump to my Apex side, which is very heavily down today. You can see we're down $1,174, which is absolute craziness on here. And on our 15-minute chart here, on the, see, this is also pretty interesting. So here we are on the 15-minute chart, which actually predicted this breakout a long time ago. Even through all that volatility that we saw on the 1, 3, and 5-minute chart, the 15-minute chart looked pretty calm. But you can see the TTM is actually going red on the 1-minute chart. So there is a reasonable amount of skepticism that could push this back down. Three-minute has a little flag form there. 3-minute went from 4.3 to 6.4. And we have a minute and a half left on this 3-minute candle. So it's only about halfway through. So this really could go in either direction. Three-minute crossover, 5200 crossover. This is at 56, and this is at 62 and a quarter. So this is still dropping. This is still climbing. I'm gonna look at this at probably about 9:15, maybe 9:30. So about half hour to 45 minutes for this crossover potential. Now, obviously, it could fail and just go the opposite direction. But right now, given the way the moving averages are sloped and the directions that they're going, it does look like we are headed for a crossover in a bit of time. But you can see between candles, we don't move much. This went from 65.50 up to, 55.50 up to 56. So a movement of 50 cents. And this went from 62.50 down to 62 and a quarter. So we narrowed a gap basically of 75 cents. So we do have a long way to go. It's currently at 62.25 and at 56. We're only moving at 75 cents every 3 minutes. It's a difference of $6.50 divided by 0.75. That gives us 8.5 3-minute candles, which puts us at 24 minutes. So we'll be looking for this at about 24 minutes up to about a half an hour from now. So we'll be looking at this close to like 9:15 for this crossover to happen. Maybe even like 9:20, 9:30. If there are variants in the chart. Kind of a weird way to identify crossover action, but it does, for me, help anticipate trade action. So where did that just topple the SPY at on the run? I think it was 39.70 was where it was at spawn. Spawn. I totally almost called you Spawn. I've been playing too much Halo. Trying to force those puts to close position. Yeah, hit 39.70. Actually we hit 75, but we pulled back to 70. And right now we're hanging around the 70 mark, which is right where the 200 moving average is on the 5-minute chart. We are hitting a doji followed by a pop-up here back up to 70 at the moment. So that's looking pretty decent. If I go to this 1 minute, we're probably bouncing off the 9 EMA. Yeah, we are. So this is that long I told you I was tempted to take. I'm kind of grateful I didn't, just because it took an extra like 3 minutes or so, and I likely would have closed out my position before then. But this did pop from 68.50 up to 71, and now we're kind of riding along 70 on this very clear flag on the 1 minute chart. Getting a nice pop up now. I think we're gonna have a little cup and handle here. I'm gonna switch this off of 8 ticks though. We're gonna switch down to 5 ticks. And I kind of missed the move. Popping up to 75. That's a double top there. Up at 75.75. We did top 76 now. 76.50 is our top of this candle. I'd like to see a pullback to about 73 and then a subsequent bounce off of that so we get the cup and handle. There's a pullback to 74.
Order filled.
Join the bid at 74. I'm looking for an exit at 75.25. I'm going to reduce my sell order to just a single tick and just take that. We got all those. So I guess I could have held it. But given that it looked like it was going to pull back there pretty heavily for a second, I just decided to take the profit. Made a tiny little bit back on that. 3 contracts at 1 tick. So 37.50, I think that is, before fees. And we are popping up to 76 on this cup and handle that we see here on the 1 minute chart. It's a very nice cup and handle, because this one's actually making a new high off the previous. Pulling back down to 75, which is becoming a support level now. I'm going to put a line here right at 75 to act as both support and resistance. And we're rejecting somewhat off that. This should be expected due to the cup and handle nature of this chart pattern. So you can see that sort of the U here. We can see potentially a pullback to the 9 EMA, which is right there at 71. But my guess is that we're only going to really pull back to like 72 or something like that, and then come back up and try again, which we pull back to 72.50, and we pop back up to 74. So some trade off there. By the way, y'all, if y'all chilling, y'all hanging out, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And also, too, if you guys are trying to earn money in the futures market, there are some amazing deals right now on some prop firms. Apex Trader Funding recently added Trade as well as TradingView software available in some of their accounts here. They have both NinjaTrader accounts and TradingView Trade accounts. They are doing an 80% off sale right now for the next couple of days. There is a link in the description that will actually help support the channel as well. If y'all do happen to pick up an evaluation, just go ahead and shoot me a message on Discord. Let me know that you did. And join up in our Discord community, and we can do whatever we can to help you succeed in your own evaluation as well. It's obviously not financial advice or any of those types of things, but we are just a community of traders that tries to help each other succeed. That's why we call it optimistic futures. I think everybody needs an optimistic future. But if you're trying to earn money in the futures market, you can actually get access to like $50,000 for like 37 bucks. It's just ridiculous. It's actually cheaper if you like trading in NinjaTrader. But if you like Tradeovate and TradingView, which I personally do, I think it's worth the additional $4 to get access to that software on the 50K plan or any of these plans down here. You can actually work with as high as $300,000. So it's pretty crazy. We are getting a breakout above that 75 zone. Coming up and tapping this double top here at 77. ES is still red on the day, but only by like $2. So we do have potential for some opportunity up here, pretty dang high. The upper band of the VWAP is actually right there at 39.93, which is a consistent number that Pawn, one of our Discord community members, has actually called out today as sort of the top end of the zone. And that's exactly where our VWAP is painting it on the upper level. It's right there at 92.25, which is basically 93. So that was a very nice cup and handle, with a good amount of rejection there at 77. We got this double top here, and we're kind of hitting a triple top. We are still pushing up. I definitely missed a lot of trade opportunities through here, and that's kind of frustrating to me. But also at the same time, we took two very big hits today that put our account down $1,145 today. So I am going slow for those reasons. I'm just hoping to earn some of that back, even if I don't get back into green, that's fine. But I would like to reduce the loss itself. So I am trading slow. We are popping up to 80 now. That was a nice breakout there as well. You hesitates his loss, and I've been hesitating a lot today, mainly just because our very first trades just got us hit hard. Ripping up to 83 from 78 to 83 is a 20 tick move there. And we're approaching pretty quickly on this crossover. Here we are at the top of the hour, right at 9 o'clock. And this 50 crossover on the 3-minute chart has now moved itself up to 58.50, while the 200 moving average has actually stayed the same at 62.25. And our TTM 3-minute chart has gone all the way up to 15. We're ripping up here into the 80s. We peaked out there at 85. I should say 84.75. So you look at this 15-minute chart and just see what's been painting on the TTM. So 15-minute chart has actually been painting out some bullish action on the TTM. 15-minute chart has the 200 moving average right there at 39.90. So I really think 90 is probably going to be our big line in the sand today. Yeah, you're saying the SPY flow now is over 30.93 or 3.93. So those outs are out. Did you mean puts? Or out of the money? Damn, autocorrect. Puts. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the puts are out of the money now. Or rather, they would be out of the money at 3.93. Is that what you're saying? Or 39.3. 1 minute chart pulling back to about 77. So this is kind of a pretty reasonable pullback. Makes sense though, pulling down to the 9 EMA from that high up there at 85. 84.75 is the high of this rip. And TTM pulling back. Whoa, big drop there. lot of volume just dropped on us. We just went from 80 down to 75 on this 1 minute candle. And that happened in a couple of seconds because this was near the end of this. So TTM just went from 7 point something. 6.8 was the 6.9 was the close of that. All the way down to 5.5. Massive pull down, a lot of volatility, all the way down to 73 from 84, 75. So a drop of over $10. Let's take a look at our 20-second chart and see what we got going on here. So I'm actually going to switch to the micro here, and I'm going to look at taking so on this 20-second chart, we went red on the TTM. I'm going to look at taking a 4 contract in the micro, to be clear. Short here, although this is kind of pulling back up. I should have taken my own advice. The hesitation, man. I got to work on hesitation. That is clearly an issue that I've developed over the last 2 months. And it has a lot to do with the bearish market that we've been trading in.
Order filled.
Went short here. I'm just looking for 3 ticks down with 4 contracts. We did get that. Made a little micro profit back on that. 4 contracts in the mini. It's not very much, but it's something. So it's $5 times our 3 ticks that we took, so $15 minus fees. But I'm trading smaller in this Apex account because I want to protect my trailing max drawdown. It's really important to protect your trailing max drawdown. It's actually, it really is one of the things that I tend to think about a lot is that, okay, if I'm buying access to a $50,000 account for $37, and I have a trailing max drawdown of $2,500, I actually personally feel like I have access to a $2,500 account, not a $50,000 account. Does that make sense? I have the equity to be able to trade $50,000 worth of contracts, but my account size is only $2,500. Does that make sense? So I try to make sure that what I'm trading off of is trading off of more of the mindset of having a $2,500 account instead of a $50,000 account. So if you think about that, if you're adding 10% to your account balance per day at a $2,500 account, you're actually only really looking to make $250 per day instead of $1,000 or $2,000 or something like that. That's not to say that we haven't had days like that. Our biggest day ever was $10,000 inside of a simulator. But when you're actually trading it with a live account, like a funded account or a evaluation account, I try to keep it that I actually only really have access to $2,500 or $1,500 or $2,000, whatever the trailing max drawdown is for your plan. So our profit target on this Apex account is $53,000, and it's the same profit target that we have on our Elite Trader funding account. It's $53,000. And we're currently about $4,500 away from. I like the way my voice sounded on that. $4,500. About $4,500 away from that. I really hope to get over this sickness over the weekend. Because I can feel it just very much in my throat, and I've been dealing with it all week. I've been taking we make some homemade cough syrup type stuff. It's just raw honey and garlic that ferments together, and it works pretty dang well for a couple hours. Like for a couple hours, it'll like clear up a ton of mucus, and I'll just feel like a lot better. But it does come back after like 4 or 5 hours. But I think I mean, 4 hours is pretty good off of some garlic and some honey. All right, massive pullback again, continuing downward all the way down to 67. Let's take a look at the 1 minute chart on the. Okay, so 1 minute chart going red on the TTM. We got a 1226 crossover to the downside. So this does look like we're moving away from breakout, more to the bullish or bearish territory. We did pull all the way back. We gave back a lot of the gains on the ES. Our high here was 84.75. We pulled back to this area here right around 70 where it's kind of finding support, which is at the 9 EMA on the 3-minute chart. And you can see we got that doji here. We also got this we're also kind of riding around that same doji mark, which was at 69, and we're at 69 right now. We're kind of riding this zone. We got about 1 minute left in this 3-minute candle, and you can see that 5200 is still on the approach. So this 200, I should say, is at 62 and a quarter, while the 50 is at 59.75. So we're only have a difference of about $3. 62 and a quarter minus 59.75. So our difference is $2.50. And we've been moving. Let's see here. So this previous candle was at 59 and a quarter. We moved up like 50 cents. So we've been moving pretty quickly. So we're moving at about 50 cents per 3-minute candle. And we need another $2.50. So divided by 50 cents means another 5 candles. So about 15 minutes. We're pulling back to this 12 EMA here, all the way down to about 68. Switching to this 1-minute chart. I'm going to put on, I'm just going to do one contract. And I'm going to look for a red-yellow move on the TTM because I actually do think that we're going to hold this zone here and that we're going to bounce. So we're kind of getting some bounces off of the EMA 35. I actually might be able to predict this a little bit faster on the 20-second chart, which is moving up, has had yellow candle after yellow candle. Sorry for the stutter there, a little bit of brain injury, or also just try to collect my thoughts. 3.2 to 2.6 to 2.4 on the current candle on the TTM side. On the 20-second, going now to 2.1 on this pullback to 68.50, and we have room on pullback down to 67. We drop below 67. I don't know about this coming back. So I'm waiting now for the red to yellow switch on the 1-minute chart because we are kind of hanging out at this EMA 35 here. I'm tempted to take the trade because of the bounce off the EMA 35. Another zone would be a bounce off the EMA 50. Currently, we're at 5.4 on the TTM on the 1, moving downward from 4.2. So that's still a pretty decent factor of momentum on the downside at the moment. This EMA 35 is very tempting, though, to take a long trade for a potential setup for an ABCD pattern or something like that. New TTM on the 1-minute chart coming in at 6.4, so still downward push on the momentum. Going from 4.0 to 5.1 to now 6.6 on the TTM. So I think a bounce off the EMA 50 is potentially more probable than a bounce off the EMA 35. I'm going to take a look at this 20-second chart. I'm hoping that we don't hesitate again because we've been dealing with that all day. TTM on the 20-second chart going from 1.5 to 1.3. So we do a build up on the 20-second chart, which is not particularly as useful on the TTM for I should say for this kind of breakout. Trying to figure out how to define that, how to differentiate between the two using my speech, using language. You need a little rejection there off the 35. Like I said, I'm just waiting for red to yellow on the 1 minute chart. We are holding this zone pretty strongly, but we could just dump down as much of what has happened today. Popping up from 67.25 up to 69.75, so like an 8-tick move there, pretty good movement. And running into resistance at that 9 EMA. Moving from 6.6 to 7.4 on the TTM. I'm going to look for an entry off of 68.75. So I'm going to look for a pullback to the EMA 35.
Order
There
filled.
we go. We got that entry. I'm in one contract in the mini, and I'm looking for a push up to 70. This is pulling back more so than I want to see. We're down $75 in this trade. It's pulling back to the EMA 50. I didn't wait for my red to yellow, and I'm kind of regretting it. I'm still holding on to this trade. I'm down $100 in it. I'm still holding on to this trade. We're dipping below the 50. I may have to cut this. I really don't want to. There's 16 seconds left in this candle. I want to see this just pop off the EMA 50. 8.0 on the TTM1. I want to see that go to like 7.2. Coming in, opening at 8.5. I don't like that. This is what I get for not following my strategy like completely to the T. And I really need to be doing that. Pulling all the way back to 66. Coming back up. TTM's at 8.7. Now I want to see it go to like 8.0, but I don't know that we're going to see this. We're getting too much sell-off. I'm going to have to cut this.
Order filled.
It hurts, but it is what it is. Trailing max is now at 575. So we're here at 9:15. We should be on the approach of the 5200 cross on the 3-minute chart. This pulled back a little bit more than I expected. I was expecting it to bounce sort of right here and pop back up towards 70. So unfortunately, this was a 13-tick loss. 3-minute chart is pulling back now to 64. 63. The 200 moving average is here at 61.75. I'm actually gonna put a marking on these to show the value. That way I don't have to keep trying to figure it out. Okay, there we go. So 50 EMA is at 60.50, and 200 EMA is at 61.80. So they're off now by about $1.50. Pulling back pretty heavily all the way down to that EMA 35 and even lower. I'm grateful that we cut that trade. But man, I should have switched to a short. Popping off that 200 moving average. That's a 12 tick pop back up. Yeah, you too, Pawn. Hope you have an amazing weekend, man. We'll see you Monday or in the Discord community or whenever I see you next. Monday is actually going to be kind of interesting if y'all are into like astrology or planetary alignments and stuff like that. There's going to be like a bunch of different planets aligning on Monday, which is pretty cool. Was it Charles Messier? I think is the name of the guy who discovered this entire star system. That is also going to be showing up as well on Monday. So for any any space nerds like me, just loves that kind of stuff. We're bouncing pretty strongly off the 200 moving average there. We're at 60-60. We've got just one. We should have a new 3-minute candle now. That was a pretty nice bounce there. TTM still on the cool, but our moving average is now $1 apart. So I think I'm gonna wait for this 3-minute 5200 crossover, which is just about $1 apart. We should see it sometime in the next 10 minutes or so, or less. Probably around 9:25. Maybe even like 9:24. It's like 24 or we go from 18 to 21 to 24 to 27. Pulling back all the way to 63. Just waiting for our strategy. We didn't wait for it here, and we kind of got screwed on that. And just we didn't get screwed. I screwed myself in that regard because I didn't wait for my full-on strategy, and as a result, this was the case. So we've been on the 3-minute pullback now. We haven't painted a green in a very long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles. 7 times 3 is 21 minutes. We've been on the pull back. We got this double hammer candle down here at around 64.50. Getting some yellow candles, red to yellow moves on the TTM 1-minute chart. But we're below the 50, so I don't really want to take this. We may run into resistance along these 9 EMAs, just like there and there. So 53 minutes. We're down pretty heavily in our Apex account. We have 575 available on our trailing max. Pretty heavily on today. We did well up until today, but we did take a reasonable loss yesterday on kind of the same type of situation. I made some of that back, and our first day we were profitable, but I think we definitely have our work cut out for us. So we're just gonna take it slow, trade small, and work our way back up, work our trailing max back up. But by trading small, we can also keep our losses small. I know it's more incremental growth and takes more time, but I think in the end it'll be worth it. Okay, so we did get a hammer candle here and here. TTM still on the cooldown at 5.2 on the 3-minute side, and we are about 80 cents away from that 5200 crossover. So what is this, 924 right now? Yep. So I think we'll be looking for 927 for this crossover to take place. The 9 and 12 are very close to a downward cross on the 3-minute chart, so that doesn't look as good as we want it to. 5 minute also stacking upward on the TTM, but this one's a long way off from a 5200 cross. This is really probably going to be our high area of the day, like 39.90s. And as Pond was mentioning too, that's also a zone where we likely will get a lot of pullback as well. So bouncing off of 65 and pushing up towards 67. So this is looking nice for this crossover potential. Now we're getting above that 50 EMA. 9 is below the 12 at the moment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait for this 9 to get above the 12. And I'm also kind of waiting for 927 to see if we get that crossover there, which is just in about a minute. We might take a bounce trade right here. Glad I didn't take that bounce trade because kind of pulled back some. TTM going from 5.3 down to 4.9, so movement of half a point on the downside. We're about 30 seconds out from a new 3-minute candle, which I'm very much interested in because of the 5200 crossover. We're also coming up on the end of our stream here as well. So we likely will be shutting this off in just a few minutes. But I think we got time to wait around for this. 5 seconds left on this. I'm going to be on the 3-minute chart to see if we get that crossover right now. I think it might be at 9:30. These are apart now by about 40-50 cents. We've only put in red candles on this on the 3-minute side. 9 below the 12 on the 3. Like I said, I'm on this 1-minute side. I'm waiting for this 9 to get above the 12. There's a nice little pop there off of 64 up to 66. Watch out for resistance at the EMA 35 and a pullback to about 65 and a quarter area, which would be right where this 9 EMA is. Still no crossover yet. What happened? Did it not? It didn't join the bid. Like, it didn't do anything. It acted as if nothing happened. Did I miss the click? All right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down there. I want to thank y'all for being here. I really do love and appreciate you. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. It really does make a major difference to the community growth. And we'd love to see you guys in the Discord community. And also, guys, like I said, if you wanted to check out Elite Trader Funding or Apex Trader, if you're trying to earn funding in the futures market, there's a link inside those descriptions. Right now, I'm going to jump into our Discord community, and I'm actually going to post my reflection and my results on the day. The reflection being what my thought process was and everything that I was going through while I was trading today. So much love and appreciation, guys. I really love and appreciate you. Said it twice. Just that's how much I love and appreciate you. We'll see you guys on Monday, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 market time. Peace out, y'all.